Hello and good evening, everybody. Fuck, I already started out bad. Hello and good evening. Oh my God. Do I press restart? Do I start it? It's going to be that type of fucking episode. Oh, geez. Sit tight, folks. It's going to be like that. Raw and unfiltered, yo. That's exactly what this episode is. Should I press restart and redo this again? You know what? Nah. Why? Let's be real. Let's be ourselves, right? But anyways, let's press reset, take two. Hello and good evening. The time is 5:32 in the evening. Today's date is December 11th, 2025. And welcome back. So, as some of you have seen, like I mentioned in the previous episode, I want to make it a point to actually drop a couple of episodes, especially during the holidays, just because people are driving, hitting the road. And if for some reason you're at home, you're in the gym, or for whatever reason it might be, maybe you're even at work, you can put this on, listen to me in the background, rant and vent, and say a bunch of silliness, and we'll go from there. With that being said, let's go ahead and engage. So what's been going on since last week? And I think the reoccurring theme in every single episode, day in and day out, has been the fact that the NFL is going absolutely bonkers. Number one, I'll start with the standings going from 1 to 15. It's all over the place. You really don't know who the hell you're rooting for. There's a bunch of shit that happened this weekend that I definitely want to dive into. Number one is the Lions beating the Cowboys 44-30. This puts the Cowboys in a really tough spot because more than likely they probably won't make the playoffs. But again, it's the Cowboys, so I could really care less. If you're a Cowboy fan, my condolences, because with Dak Prescott, it's always going to be the same ongoing issue. The Seahawks, like I mentioned before, the NFC West is absolutely just going bonkers. And I personally think that based on the way that every single team is playing in this particular division, I would not be surprised if that's the division in particular that takes it all, that takes the actual, that the Super Bowl comes out of NFC West. I don't see any other team really competing with any of the squads, whether it be the Rams or the Seahawks right now. The Steelers, they beat the Ravens, which was a shootout. Freaking the resurgence of Aaron Rodgers, man, come on, dude, bro. 27-22, that came out of left field. The Bills smacking around the Bengals, even though Mr. Burrow, oh, man, Joe Burrow, dude, that guy is freaking amazing. It seems like he's just always cool, really, really chill. The guy's got swag, but Josh Allen's got even more. That was a shootout. The Titans out dueling the Browns. Shedeur Sanders out there just playing his butt off, doing phenomenal, basically telling the naysayers to basically shut the hell up. But then again, it's the Titans. You know, you're supposed to beat that team. But the fact that they put 31 on you, on your defense, that's supposed to be stout, that was concerning. But the biggest heartbreak and surprise for me, honestly, was the Colts. And I think I mentioned last week that Daniel Jones has been battling a particular injury, not sure of what it was, but at this point, it does not matter because torn Achilles, out for the season. That's basically the final result. It was absolutely devastating and sad to see, just because the guy has been on multiple teams. If you guys don't know, he had been drafted by the New York Giants about less than 5 years ago, and his career was kind of going nowhere. He jumped around. I think he went over to the New England Patriots. Nothing happened there, and then the Colts picked him up, and he's had a surprisingly phenomenal season. So sadly, it came to a halt in that horrible fashion. And one of the funniest things that happened, though, and I'm sure some of you saw this stuff like that on the internet, that Mr. Phillip Rivers, 27 kids in all, came out of retirement at 40 plus years old, and he will be playing in their practice squad, I believe, with a potential start date maybe this week, or at least to finish the season to get them through. You just never know. I feel bad for Jonathan Taylor. I feel bad for the rest of that team and the rest of that squad that had their high hopes of making into the playoffs and having a deep run. Something that the Colts have not had in a handful of years. And then you have some really oddball games too. Like you had the Commanders being shut out against the Vikings versus JJ McCarthy. I mean, the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, bro. Like, I really don't know whether this guy's made of glass, whether he's actually got mad talent or what the hell's going on, or maybe it's the scheme or the coaching or whatever team he's with. But it just doesn't seem that my guy is going to have a consistent year without injuries. I hate to say that he might be injury prone, but he might be injury prone. That's just the way it's kind of trending. I mean, he can't finish the season. I mean, gosh forbid, dude. In my freaking fantasy draft, I'm doing all these nonsense and making all these moves, and it's not giving me nothing. So here I am. So, by the way, if you're playing fantasy football, I'm sure this past week kind of put a whole bunch of stuff and swapped out a whole bunch of people from first place to second place. I think in some leagues, I think the playoffs even started. So if you made the playoffs because of last week, kudos to you. If you're on the verge of making the playoffs because of this week, best of luck to you. I'm in the playoffs in one league. In my other league, it's going to be determined this week and see if I make it. So cross my fingers and wish me the best. So apart from that, I mean, we'll roll right through the Broncos. You know, they're looking good with Bo Nix at 11-2. They beat the Raiders, which I'm not surprised. The Raiders are, well, I'm going to move past the Raiders because I think there's enough said about that team that me adding on to it is just, you know, just like, That's just there's really no additional or more additional stuff that I can say on the Raiders that has not been said. The Rams spanking the shit out of the Cardinals, 45-17. Damn, that team looks good. But then you have some really oddballs, right? The Bears were ranked the number one in the NFC West. They were the number one seed, which basically if they had won outright, then more than likely they would get a bye for the first week, and they lost to the Packers. But again, you were at Lambeau Field, which is expected. It's always home field advantage when you're in Lambeau. Packers won 28-21. That's expected, and the Packers dropped down to, I believe, the 7th seed, just behind the San Francisco 49ers. And now I'll get into the two teams that, honestly, I don't know what the fuck to think of these two. The Chiefs. Number one, the up-and-coming Texans with the phenomenal defense. They beat the Chiefs 20-10, but Kelsey just looked old. He looked out of sync. The team just doesn't look like its normal scary self. They're not even catching a stroke of luck at all. It's just, it is what it is. I mean, and I think at this point, I think a lot of fans are starting to come to terms into the realization that maybe this is it for the Chiefs. I mean, they had a great run. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Mahomes is a future Hall of Famer. Travis Kelce, a future Hall of Famer. You have, you know, the coach, a future Hall of Famer. Their defensive coordinator, a future Hall of Famer. I mean, you got the results. I mean, you won Super Bowls. You did your job. You know, even if you go out like this, you did what you were supposed to do. Granted, you know, you want to continue winning more and more and more and continue the trend, but it's not going to happen. You know, it's just so difficult. And the Texans are just too damn good of a freaking defense. I think they're ranked the number one defense in the NFL this year, which explains it. And if you see them play day to day, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. The other one that was kind of took me by surprise, the Chargers. 9-4. They beat the Eagles 22-19. The Eagles, dude, what the hell is going on with Jalen Hurts? Man, did he play horribly. I don't know what's going on. I think I brought it up last week that the team just looks sad. Well, now they just look bewildered. They don't look what the hell they're doing. They can't call the right play. Jalen Hurts is playing apprehensive. He's playing shy. It just doesn't look good. It's not a good look. So far that I can tell you my consensus, and I think it's something that I told you in the previous week, the NFL, you have no idea what the hell is happening or what's going to happen next week. You have no flipping clue. It's just everywhere. I mean, shit, I do prize picks, which basically you pick your winners, you do your spread, etc. And even that one was all over the place. I think I had like a 5-game parlay and I hit 2, but it was fucking weird, dude. It was just weird. Just really weird. I mean, you win games, you lose some. I mean, it's just, Everything's just bonkers. It's upside down. And that's why the only team I think that's the real standout in the entire league at this time is the Rams. That's the only consistent team that I can see that can make a deep run. Everybody else on the AFC, it's up for grabs. I mean, even Denver Broncos with their phenomenal record of 11-2, I don't know. It's Bo Nix. It's a rookie. I mean, people play differently in the playoffs. People step up their game, dude. So it's just totally different. But the one trend that I am noticing a lot, and that I think a lot of folks are starting to call out, is that there seems to be rumors out there that there is a substantial amount of gambling within the referees, within the NFL, about games being scripted, and the NFL wanting certain teams to win and to make it to the playoffs for whatever reason that might be. Sorry about that. I got a frog in my throat. I think people have been saying this since the Chiefs, and I think a lot of you might have gotten wind of this. So a few years ago, when the Chiefs were on their hot streak of winning all these championships, it was rumored that the referees would side with the Kansas City Chiefs on a lot of plays. And no, I'm not being a hater. I'm just calling facts. And there has been a lot of examples where they played like Seattle in the playoffs. Catches were called no catches. It's very similar to the calls that the New England Patriots were getting with Tom Brady a few years ago, where they were calling everything on against the other team, but it was just so blatantly obvious. It was nuts, right? So it caused a whole entire conspiracy. And a lot of people just kind of put it under the bridge and said, hey, no, actually, I think you're actually exaggerating. I don't think that's really happening because, people are just playing the games. The games are just falling how they go. And that just is what it is. Well, in the game that really, I don't know who the fuck called that game, but they made it fucking obvious. So the game was 24-17. That was the score. And it was the game against the Broncos versus the Bears. Okay. So Denver was favored. They were 7.5 favorites, 7.5 points favorites. Okay. So what that means is that the Raiders were expected to lose that game by quite a bit. And what happened was the spread was -3. No, I'm sorry. Where am I? It's the Raiders. All right. The Raiders, I think they scored let me see. Sorry guys, let me go ahead and let me play this back. So with the score was basically at this time it was 24-14. All right. And then the over under was 7.5, which means that the score was supposed to be the Broncos were going to win basically by a touchdown and more. And it was 24-14. So if you played the spread at that moment in time, you would have won. Right? But the Raiders, for some fucking reason, with 16 seconds left in the game, they got nothing left in the game. Absolutely nothing. They kick a field goal with 5 seconds left, and they made the score 24-17. So that -7.5 was a 7, which means that you did not get shit if you bet the over. Why did they kick the field goal for 3 points with 16 seconds left? What is the logic in that? Please make me understand that stinking logic. Please, because I don't get it. What was the point? And I think some people online were like, dude, you're being a hater. They're like, you have to really think about, the point differential. What point differential, bro? The fucking team is out of the playoffs. They were eliminated 2 weeks ago. There is no point differential to be had. That is the stupidest argument I've ever heard. And you're playing in Vegas. Fuck, dude, tell me you're not making it obvious that you are literally betting on these fucking games when you are literally betting on these games. I mean, for you to kick a field goal with 16 seconds left, that shit's fucking diabolical. You're obviously trying to do some shit. You could have ran out the clock. You could have taken a knee. You could have done a multitude of things, dude. But you decided to kick it. So, here we are. But nobody says a damn thing. And the thing just kind of flies under the radar. But I digress. If you guys are listening to this, I mean, I really hope that you guys follow football. I hope you guys do fantasy football. And if you don't, if you're just a casual what do you call it? A casual viewer of the NFL, I mean, by all means, just watch it, because these playoffs, these games right now, these next couple of weeks are going to feel like a damn playoff. Everything's up for grabs. The Seattle Seahawks, I believe, are playing the Colts. And I think the Rams, who the hell are the Rams playing? Let me take a look and see who the Rams are playing, folks. Let's see here. Scores week 15. The Rams are playing the Lions. Ooh, it's going to be a good game. So the over under on that one is 55, which basically the NFL is expecting a crazy shootout. And the Rams are favored by 5.5, which means that the Rams are favored to win by more than a field goal. That's a close one. The Panthers are playing the Saints. The Colts are playing the Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by -13. So everybody's expecting the Seahawks to just completely obliterate the Colts. And then with the Niners, they're favored by 12.5 points, which is basically the same thing. So those two games are kind of weird because they could be considered trap games. You just don't know. And then you have the Vikings playing Dallas, and Dallas is favored by less than a field goal. So tight games coming up. But apart from that, I did want to share some great news about the channel. So if you've held on so far these 17 minutes in my rant and my venting and my passionate take on freaking football, our channel is doing great. You know, I embarked on this journey 3 to 4 months ago, not knowing what the hell I was going to do. Obviously, I was going to have an unscripted channel. I wanted to be really raw and really blunt and be very real. I wanted listeners to come to this channel, put on play, and not know what you're going to get. You're going to get the F-ups in the beginning or the first 5-10 seconds of this podcast, and then the mid-level stumbles, the fact-checking where I might be off on some facts and some data. It's basically a dude talking to you on the radio, riling you up, man. I mean, fucking positive vibes, dude. That's exactly what this is, just pure love, right? And if you're listening on the road, if you're doing a workout, if you are just like to listen to a different take on a lot of stuff, hey, I'm here for it. But the channel has done amazing, and I don't think I can really explain thoroughly how exciting it is to embark on this journey with some of you that are listening and have it be so positive. My humble goals, I think, on YouTube, because we are on YouTube, was that I wanted to have at least 100 subscribers. And mind you, you might think like, damn, dude, only 100? Well, yeah, it's hard to build a channel. You know, if you are a social media creator, you know what it takes. There's a lot of hustle, there's a lot of grind, there's a lot of hours dedicated to this stuff. There's some stress because you're always looking at your analytics, which is annoying as hell because I don't like doing it, but you got to do it from time to time. You got to see if you're having a successful channel. You got to take a look and see if your episode is actually clicking on people. You got to see if the views are actually legit. All this stuff factors in and translates for you and motivates you to create a good quality of content for people to listen to. And the channel, surprisingly, and by the grace of Almighty, has exceeded the 100 subscribers, and now we're getting close to 3,000. So 3,000 subscribers. And some of the episodes that I'm getting are 14,000 views, 10,000 views. I mean, that is really, it's overwhelmingly emotional for me to come to terms that what I speak on and the way that I say things resonates with all of you. Because sometimes I think, like I mentioned in the origin of this particular channel, was that I was sick and tired of people just kind of tiptoeing around what they really wanted to say. And it bugs me. And I know that certain people, and I'm not calling anybody out, but there's certain folks that are born in a certain type of household that's very structured, very firm, very direct, very cookie cutter. You cannot step out the line, very disciplined. You cannot cuss, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. I came from one that was exactly like that. However, I broke away from it and I did my own thing, and I do speak my mind, and I say things very passionately, and I do my research, and I do like going down rabbit holes because that's what makes things interesting. And the last episode when we discussed psyops, I came across psyops because I'm a big fan of this one particular channel. It's called the Y Files. And if you guys have not heard that podcast or on YouTube, I really strongly recommend it. Again, they are not paying me for me to say this. I am just being legit telling you that AJ from the Y Files and his freaking Frecklefish or Hecklefish, phenomenal show. Very well edited, very well scripted. The data and information on those shows are absolutely perfect. It's a phenomenal channel. And I came across that episode and I was completely just flabbergasted with the amount of BS that oftentimes it's played to us, right? I mean, and you sit back and you relax and you're like thinking like, dude, psyops though, for real? Yes, it's a real fucking thing. I think I brought up about the firm called Hill and Knowlton and how they manipulated the industry, the media, and public relations by having one of the greatest and most diabolical psyops that still to this day resonates with all of you that are even possibly listening and are smokers yourself. And especially women, this is targeted to you. So listen up, all right? The symbiotic relationship between cigarettes and public relations goes back even further than the 1950s to the early 20th century, when both were fledgling industries and the tobacco companies used public relations, psyops marketing skills to first hook women and then children to their drug. Okay? So, during the Roaring 20s, the American Tobacco Company turned to public relations to develop a vast new market, American women. They wanted to target women because they were home. And they pitched it in a way that, hey, if you smoke cigarettes and you're at home, you're not only going to be cool, because it was all about image back then, but also you were going to be sexy, so they sexualized it. And not only that, supposedly it allowed you to stay in shape and lose weight. And it was nuts. It's like, you know, Lasker portrayed Lucky Strikes, which is basically a cigarette company, as a healthy cigarette by concocting surveys using fake data to claim that the doctors preferred Luckiest as the less irritating brand. This effective campaign urged women to reach for Lucky instead of something else. The campaign increased Lucky Strike's sales threefold in a 12-month period. And it's insane because to this day, that data is what they use. Remember when they changed the wording on the cigarette package from "it will cause cancer" to "it may"? It may be addictive. It may give you cancer. It may do this. It may do that. And by this time, people are already addicted to this shit. So obviously you're like, well, it says it may kill me and no one will necessarily do it. So people continue doing it. And here we are. I mean, it's like, fuck, tobacco is one of the biggest industries that there is. And it's companies like Hill and Knowlton that managed this public relations back in the day and has remained to be successful. They found key triggers that basically make people click and listen and make their own judgment. And oftentimes, if you are already down the rabbit hole, you're not going to change your narrative. You know, in PSYOPs, honestly, man, once you really understand what it is, you look at the news differently, you notice that there's a lot of media triggering certain things, certain folks, certain demographics to get a reaction out of it. And this is one of the main things that I think a lot of people forget about our current president, Mr. Donald Trump. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of politics just because, honestly, I think it's bullshit on both sides. I think both Democrat and Republican try their very best to manipulate the agenda and smear the other opposition's point. It's always an extreme of one or the other. Like, long are the days where you're going to have a government that's actually going to want to see and hear both sides. That doesn't happen. But the reason why Mr. Donald Trump became so successful is because he went off the cuff. He wasn't a cookie cutter president. He wasn't a cookie cutter nominee. And oftentimes people were just sick and tired of seeing the same shit going out there. And then you have this guy who has zero knowledge of what the hell he's talking about, but he's up there representing someone. And a lot of people saw themselves in him, in his bigotry and his one-sidedness and his extremism, that right now, as we are listening to this podcast, it resonates. Immigration running rampant, you know, accusations of pedophilia and Epstein files and all that stuff. I mean, that's all legit big stuff that's tied to the president. But a lot of people don't pay attention to that. They just want to see the results, and they eat up whatever it is that they're being fed by the media. And this goes to our kids as well. You know, and that's the one thing that I always go back to in this channel, and that's where we need to do a great job of staying ahead of it and giving the kids the right information. And I had this really interesting conversation with my teenager, and we were going back in regards to education and how she feels that her school is treating her and her classmates. And her comments to me were that she's not learning shit. I mean, I literally hear stories about teachers literally having three or four freaking stacks of papers that need to be graded, and they're not. I hear that there's kids, about 40 to 45 kids per classroom. I mean, do you understand, if you are an educator, how difficult that is? I mean, if you have 6 to 8 classes, 45 exams, I mean, do the math. That's hundreds and hundreds of papers you have to grade. I mean, are you really going to give it your all, or are you just going to try to do your bare minimum? And a lot of the teachers these days, by the looks of it, it looks like they're doing the bare minimum. I mean, they have things like iReady, where these kids basically log into a website and they do assignments online that are generated through whatever system that they're using, and it is what it is. But how the fuck is that teaching anybody? They ain't teaching you shit. That's just putting on a movie in front of you and click and play and having you see if you can retain the information, and that's about it. I mean, it's sad when a lot of kids don't even understand the demographics, not demographics, but geography. Pull up any kid right now that you can see and ask them where El Salvador is, where Central America is, where Nicaragua is, where Panama is. Probably 6 times out of 10, they have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. But that's where we're at. That's the data. That's life now. That's exactly what it is. And this is why it's so important for you to remain in your kids' lives and engage and take time to have a conversation with them during dinner. Ask them fucking questions. Ask them questions. Don't be afraid of the answer. Don't dodge it. A lot of us are so eager to go to the cooler, open up the refrigerator, open up a can of beer and fucking drink it rather than talking to our kid. Oh, my kid don't like me. Well, fuck, why? Do they have a reason to? Have you really spent time, really tried to engage? Or are you automatically under the assumption that they're going to give you the time of day without you literally investing in them? Because that's bullshit. That's not going to fucking happen. You got to invest in them. And then you can't sit there and wonder why the fuck they're locked into their room and they're not wanting to engage with you. You gave them a TV, you give them a phone, you give them an iPad, you give them all this fucking social media shit, all these electronics to keep them distracted when in fact, they don't need the fucking distractions. They need somebody to engage with them and actually talk with them. Tell them stories about your upbringing. Tell them stories about your heritage if you know it. You gotta be a storyteller. You gotta pass on your stories when you were growing up. You gotta tell them some of the shit that you did. You can't just encompass everything on these kids and download it and expect them to know what the fuck they're gonna do with the information that you give them. You can't just do that. You know, and it's something that I've learned, and I've become a lot more better in like practicing this with my own family. So we read the Bible every night after we say grace before we have dinner. And that's the other thing. Having dinner with your family each and every single night is so important. I'm not sure if any of you have the ability to do so or do that. But if you can, do it. Put down the cell phones, put out dinner like old school, and actually have a conversation with your kid. How did school go? You look a little bit down. Are you all right? I mean, you'd be surprised how blessed those kids are knowing that you notice. If you go to one of your kids and you tell them like, hey man, I'm noticing you've been a little bit down. They're like, well, what do you mean? And you point out the cues that you're trying to hide from you when they're really upset about something, and you bring it to light. They're like, okay. Well, and then eventually they will tell you what's up. I mean, it sounds really simple, but you got to invest. You can't just turn your back and victimize yourself like, oh, I got a whole bunch of shit going on, blah, 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 blah. No. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're not setting up a good example. I mean, there's folks that go by the wayside, that go each day by day, going on social media, saying things and putting inspirational quotes and doing this and doing that. And at the end of the day, they're not really doing anything on their end to better their own situation. They are complacent and they are okay with failing as long as you give them pity and empathy for their situation, when in reality, they put themselves in that particular situation to begin with. You know, and I'll give you an example. And here is another story. So imagine a young man and a young woman, and they're both from the streets, you could say. They both grew up on the streets. They both have a really tough upbringing, even though it was by choice. Because they could have overcome it. At least one of them had the support. But he decided to just go out and do his own shit. Came across this young lady who was raised the opposite. She was raised in a home where your parents taught you how to manipulate the system and get the best out of it. It's you against the system. You got to make the best out of it. You got to use welfare, EBT food stamps, whatever it is, whatever gimmies that the government can give you, you got to take advantage of it. So this particular young lady developed that thought process and way of thinking. She hooks up with this gentleman, they have a daughter, and then the life starts. But then throughout this whole entire time, you see social media, and this is why it's dangerous when you put everything in social media, because people start looking at your shit and not really commenting on your social media, on your pictures, on your likes or whatever. There's more people wanting for you to fail than there are wanting for you to succeed. And you got to be okay knowing that. You got to be good and accepting the fact that, and understanding that somebody is watching your stuff, frowning and wanting for you to put something stupid. And then when you put inspirational stuff, but then you're not really doing your best, you're sending mixed messages. Like you don't know what the fuck you want. And then this couple, the gentleman had kids from another marriage, from another relationship. She had one kid from another relationship. They both had one kid in common. They live in a 2-bedroom apartment with like maybe a bunch of kids. So it's already a tight, tough situation. And then what do? You bring in another life to this world. So now you're putting even more stress in that particular relationship that probably really wasn't secure to begin with. And you're dealing with your own coping mechanisms. You're neglecting your children to some extent because you're so focused on getting yourself better that you're completely ignoring the fact that your kids are watching you self-destruct. So then what else do? Oh, shit, well, here you go. I'm going to go ahead and be in this relationship, be a stay-at-home mom because I can't go to work, but yet I'm complaining that I'm broke. If you are that person, let me tell you something directly. Stop. You are in the position that you are in because you have allowed yourself to be in there. There is nothing stopping you from enrolling yourself in school and getting your GED. There is nothing stopping you from taking additional courses and classes in community college to get some sort of degree, whether it be your AA degree, your bachelor, whatever it might be. But it will take sacrifice. It's not going to be given to you. You are the one that's making that choice to spend a little bit of money that you have to go spend it on coping mechanisms, whatever that might be. It might be alcohol, it might be weed, it might be other shit. You are making that choice to have that instead of getting your shit right. So fucking stop. And then you go on social media and you want people to feel sorry for you or show empathy for you. There's people going through way worse things than what you're going through, and somehow they're making it work. I've seen single moms raise 3 children and still become a registered nurse. 0 excuses. You're the one that makes the choice to sleep in instead of getting up early and filling out job applications. You're the one that's making the choice of hanging around people that only want misery from you, and they share in the same nonsense that you do. Misery loves company because we are too scared to face the reality that what we have done is self-inflicted. Now, granted, there is always trauma. There's always things in the middle that maybe have helped in building you the way that you are, and that's hindering your development from being something better. But you gotta fucking do something. Otherwise, you are teaching your young children that are looking to you as an example of what things should be the wrong way. Do you want your kids to remember you having a beer in your hand and always being fucked up drunk in the couch? Or do you want your kids to remember you as being the dad that was doing handy shit all around the house? Or working on the car? working on a trade, working in the backyard, doing some sort of landscape, always fucking working? Or do you want them to have a memory of you being plastered, passed out drunk, or fucking high as shit in the backyard? What do you want them to see? What do you want your kids to remember you by? Or your nephews, or your nieces? You gotta set some sort of example. Because then I'll guarantee it, because if these kids or children that you are raising right now, when they get of age, and if they go down the wrong path, and you get mad at them, now you're being the fucking hypocrite, because you are the one that set that example to begin with. You're the one that showed them the bad shit, the bad coping mechanisms, instead of the good ones. You're the one that is showing your daughter that it's okay to sleep in and not go out and fill out job applications and basically go and just spend time on my phone on social media about how my life sucks. Posting all this bunch of inspirational shit when you don't even fucking follow none of the messages that you post. You're a hypocrite. You're not going to get empathy from me, because nobody gave me none. And I am flabbergasted at the amount of people that go on social media and they do all this shit. And I fucking scratching my head. I'm like, you're the one that put yourself in that fucking position to begin with. Don't nobody fucking told you to have a fucking baby at 40-something years old when you could barely afford the 3 that you had? That was your choice. Nobody told you to perform in your job the way that you did that cost you your employment because you just couldn't fucking man up. So that's my whole thing, man. Like, and I know I'm going off a beaten path and on a passionate rant here, but I think the past couple of weeks and the past couple of days, I think that's what I've been seeing a lot on social media, especially as we get close to the holidays and people are posting gifts and things that they're doing and buying for their children and special gifts and surprises. And the holidays, let me also nip that shit in the butt. The holidays is not a pissing contest about who gives who a better fucking gift. You give what you can to those who you feel are worth it. If you have a family of 100 family members, you're not going to give 100 fucking gifts. Let's make that very clear. The holidays and Christmas are supposed to be for family, spending time with those that you care about. We just so happen to open a box at midnight or the following day with a surprise or something that just says, hey, I appreciate you. But the contents of that box do not dictate the amount of love, appreciation, or everything in between from that individual to you. If somebody gives you fucking socks or somebody gives you underwear, that's all they could afford. That's all they could give you. You appreciate it, say thank you, give them a fucking hug, and move the fuck on. Because the following year, you won't know if that person will be there. Now, with the shootings that are going on, with the accidents and the holidays and the DUIs, people doing stupid shit, coping mechanisms, people killing themselves, committing suicide, and all this other shit that's going around because of mental health issues, it's not a pissing contest. And it shouldn't be that way. So don't treat holidays that way. If you're able to provide for your family and give them all the best gifts that you possibly could, fucking go for it. Be proud of yourself that you did. But if you can't, don't get mad and put hate or throw shade on somebody that does. Celebrate others the way that you want them to celebrate your own victories. Don't frown, dislike, or simply just ghost fucking social media accounts to see what other people are doing. Then you look around in your room in your situation and think that you've done shit. You are where you are oftentimes because of what you have done yourself as well. If you're in your early 20s, you still got plenty of fucking time to fix yourself. But don't let your environment turn you into a product of your environment and a reason why you fail. You should use the environment that you were brought in as fucking fuel and admiration and fucking goals of things that you want to do better. Don't sit on your morals. Don't sit on your ass and wait for something to fucking happen to you. You have to fucking go out and get it. Get up early, go work out, go to the gym if you want to lose weight, eat right. Don't drink so fucking much. Instead of spending $160 in fucking weed and all this other shit in the cannabis, how about you put that motherfucking shit down and spend it on something else? A gym membership. Instead of going to McDonald's, buy a fucking salad. Instead of going out partying on the weekend, every single opportunity, and leaving your kid with your grandma and grandpa and having somebody else raise your children, how about you address your own fucking mental health problems where you're at that you're annoying, you're trying your hardest not to address. And then you wonder why you can't have a normal relationship. Oh, my relationships suck. I can't really have a good relationships at all or anything. Hold on one second. I mean, that's honestly it, dude. I mean, I see this often. I see this a lot. You are a product of the things that you have created. And a lot of people are like, no, I haven't been given the opportunities. No, we have not. That is one of the unfortunate things of being a minority. We have not been given the tools or the opportunities that maybe others have. But that should not be a fucking reason why you can't. Just how even in sports, like, and I'll use my daughter's dance team and her soccer team. There's people that are better players and better performers, and the gap gets significantly more and more and more broader and bigger as these kids get, because there's going to be a group of kids that are going to just sit on their ass and not do shit. And then there will be the other kids who are constantly always wanting to improve, whether it's taking additional classes, whether it's taking additional trainings to better themselves in the fitness. And then you wonder why they're succeeding. Stop making flipping excuses. So that is my message to you. And I hate to have this particular episode be this targeted, but honestly, as we get into the holidays, I get more and more of the social media nonsense of like, oh, this is going to be my Christmas this year. Dude, stop. Fucking stop. Christmas is not about that. You should be proud to have your kids with you, for them to be alive and healthy. If you have a job, you should be blessed and happy that you have a job. The fact that you actually have a phone for you to listen to this podcast is a fucking blessing, because a lot of people don't even have that. If you're in your bed listening to this, if you're driving in a car listening to this, be blessed that you have that vehicle you're driving in right now. Be blessed that you have a home to go to. Be blessed and thankful that you have a nice warm pillow, a blanket, a fucking functioning toilet that has running water, electricity, a damn electricity that you can plug in your charger so you can charge your phone, so you can be on social media listening to podcasts just like this. Be thankful this holiday. Be grateful. And quit making the excuses. Stop it. Because you can do this, but you have to overcome it. You have to believe yourself. You have to speak it into existence. You have to manipulate destiny and manifest destiny of the things that you want will be and come to fruition. That next job, buying a home, that apartment. But stop fucking looking around for answers and expecting somebody to come to you with the answers and solve the problem for you. Life doesn't work that way. And if you have the support system and the ability to do that, you fucking do it and take advantage of it. And make sure you teach your kids the same determination that I'm telling you right now. Do not tolerate excuses. If you have young girls, raise them to be young women, self-respecting women, strong women. Women that are going to read through bullshit and be okay being independent, being okay not having a relationship. I see my daughter all the time. I hear my daughter all the time telling me about girls in middle school that are going from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship. I mean, 12, 13 years old, 14. What kind of instability are you trying to accomplish here? What are you trying to accomplish? And for girls, it's worse than it is for boys because there is a double standard. And if you have young men, raise them to be gentlemen, respectful, to value women. In relationships, there's got to be two individuals. It's got to be a partnership. One's got to put in as much as the other. It's not a pissing contest of who does more than the other. It's not. Because if you have that equal balance, your kids are going to see that there's an equal balance, and you're setting the bar for their future relationships to be that way. So apologies if this particular podcast got a little bit off the side. The rant went off the rails a little bit. But like I said, we're entering the holidays. Things are getting squirrely. People are posting weird shit now. But I'll close the loop with this one particular thing that I just said a few moments ago. And that is just be blessed of what you have. And don't dwell of what you don't. Every day is called present because it is a gift. So treat it as such. And if you are able to afford something for someone out there on this particular holiday, it doesn't matter what it is. If they respect you, if they love you and appreciate you and are blessed for you to be with them, that's all that matters. And if you don't get the gift that you want this year from that person, if you dropped a whole bunch of billion hits, it's all right. Now, if you are buying gifts for somebody that's $300 because you're expecting to get $300 in gifts right back, that's never gonna fucking happen. So don't fucking do it. Just don't do it. It's much better to give a gift when a good one, when that person doesn't expect it, than on Christmas when everybody expects something. Don't make it about material possessions. Make Christmas about family. Make Christmas about spending time with you and your partner and whoever it is that you care about. And if you don't have anybody, if you feel that you don't have no one you can vent to or listen into, come back to this channel and let's talk. I think I'm going to release one more episode after this, and after that, I'm going to shut it down for the next couple of weeks until New Year's. And then after that, I'm going to be just re-releasing some really old episodes. One of my original episodes, I'm going to re-edit them, maybe re-record them. I still don't know how I'm going to do that part yet, but I think I'm going to go down that route and see what that looks like. But in the meantime, thank you so much for sharing, liking the content, subscribing to the YouTube channel. Subscribers are a tall task and very, very difficult to do because you are literally at the beck and call of everybody who's listening. However, the only other thing too, I also want to make sure is that make sure you please drop a comment, because I do want to know what are you guys feeling out there. If you guys are feeling the content, if you guys are not feeling the content, what can I improve on? The one thing I will not change, regardless of what you ask, and that is this. I refuse to be scripted. I will not be scripted. This will stay unfiltered, raw, off the cuff, because it's a normal conversation. You're not talking to a bot or a robot. I'm a human being just like you. I bleed and I cry just like you. I love and I hate just like you. So with that being said, thank you. God bless. Most importantly, self-love and happy holidays. Good evening.